Meghan Markle's latest viral video has set the internet on fire for all the wrong reasons. Her reputation's taking a major hit, so let's break down exactly what went down. It all started with a video. No caption, no warning. Just Meghan Markle, visibly pregnant, dancing awkwardly to old-school hip-hop in a clip she said was from 4 years ago. Uploaded without context straight to Instagram, the post was clearly meant to look spontaneous, maybe even endearing, but the internet had other plans. Instead of a warm welcome or viral support, Meghan found herself at the center of yet another controversy. The clip, which seemed like an attempt to paint her as fun, relatable, and carefree, immediately caught fire online, but not in the way she likely intended. It wasn't long before Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube were flooded with reaction videos, memes, and mockery. Some people called it cringeworthy, others labeled it tone-deaf, and within hours, the backlash was louder than the beat of the track she danced to. Meghan Markle was trending for all the wrong reasons again, and this time, the fallout extended far beyond social media. Because Meghan isn't just another influencer or celebrity. She's a global public figure with multi-million-dollar contracts tied to her image, and more importantly, to her behavior. At the time of the post, she was still under contract with Netflix, part of an ongoing partnership that had already produced the Harry and Meghan docu-series, and was developing more projects, including her own docu-series with Love Meghan. According to insiders, executives at Netflix were blindsided by the video. They weren't laughing, they weren't impressed, they were furious. One executive allegedly said it was reckless and wildly off-brand, and that's putting it lightly. Greg Peters, the Netflix co-CEO who had been relatively supportive of Meghan's creative freedom, reportedly felt that this was a direct contradiction of the image they had invested so heavily in, one of maturity, growth, and thoughtful storytelling. Instead, they got a clip that felt more like an attention grab than a meaningful moment. And because Meghan's public persona is deeply intertwined with her Netflix brand, the studio felt the need to respond immediately. Behind the scenes, Netflix execs wasted no time. Internal emails were fired off, meetings were called, and Meghan was quickly contacted with a very direct request: take the video down. No soft suggestions, no carefully worded notes. Just a blunt order to delete it. But Meghan refused. According to sources close to the situation, she claimed the video was a form of personal expression. She argued it was her way of reclaiming joy and agency after years of media scrutiny. She even reportedly said that the criticism she was getting proved her point, that no matter what she does, she'll always be a target. But here's the issue. Netflix wasn't paying Meghan to fight her critics through Instagram dance videos. They were paying her to deliver marketable, controlled content that aligned with a specific public image. Therefore, her refusal to cooperate sent shockwaves through the executive boardroom. One insider described the moment as a turning point, the exact instant when the Meghan Markle deal shifted from being high potential to high risk. Because of this growing tension, Netflix began pulling back. The first domino to fall was the promotional campaign for With Love Meghan. Meghan had planned a full-scale rollout, behind-the-scenes footage, exclusive interviews, Instagram Q&As, but Netflix canceled everything, completely. There would be no posts, no press, no push. It was as if the show didn't exist, and even more telling, Meghan was reportedly barred from the editing room, despite her earlier insistence that she wanted to help shape the message of the series. That access was revoked. Netflix no longer wanted her involved in shaping anything. They were already in damage control mode, and allowing Meghan more influence only risked further PR headaches. Internally, execs had begun referring to the situation as the Meghan mess, a phrase that quietly circulated in Slack channels and closed-door meetings. It gets even worse when you look at what started happening across the broader industry. Word travels fast in Hollywood, and this latest Markle incident did not go unnoticed. One top talent agency reportedly issued a private advisory warning, staffed to avoid deals that might involve residual PR baggage from controversial celebrity partnerships. Translation: Meghan Markle had just been labeled radioactive. Even her usual allies in the entertainment world were going quiet. Publicists who once praised her for her advocacy and outspokenness were suddenly silent. A-list celebrities who used to rally around her stayed away. The isolation wasn't just external either. According to reports, Meghan was intense, sometimes explosive arguments with Netflix executives behind the scenes, particularly with Greg Peters. She argued that the backlash was unfair, that her critics were silencing her, that that she was being penalized for showing joy. But those arguments weren't convincing anyone anymore, not the public, not the platform, and increasingly, not even her own fans. Because even within her fan base, the tone had started to shift. On Reddit forums and fan pages, longtime defenders began to express concern. Some called the post a misstep, others were more blunt. "I love Meghan, but that video was not it." The usual loyal army of online support she could count on was suddenly thinner, quieter, less eager to defend every move. And meanwhile, the video itself continued to spiral. It was clipped, remixed, auto-tuned, turned into memes, parody sketches, and cringe compilations. What might have been a forgettable Instagram moment became a viral symbol of a broader unraveling. Meghan Markle was no longer controlling the narrative. She had become the narrative. And for Netflix, that was a disaster. But the most damning blow came when, with love, Meghan actually released. No premiere, no campaign, no press tour. Netflix dropped it with all the energy of an afterthought, hoping it would disappear quietly into their massive content catalog. Internally, sources said the strategy was clear. Bury the show in plain sight. Just get it out and move on. Reviews were lukewarm at best. Critics said it lacked focus, felt performative, and missed the mark on authenticity. And audiences didn't stick around. It failed to trend, failed to generate conversation, and failed to win back the goodwill Meghan had steadily lost since that video hit the internet. For Meghan, the silence around the release must have been deafening. This was supposed to be her chance to reshape her image, to offer a new chapter to her story, one of vulnerability, insight, and maturity. Instead, it became a case study in how quickly a brand can unravel when personal choices clash with corporate expectations. In response to the cold reception, Meghan tried to salvage the situation the only way she knew how: vague Instagram posts. Phrases about growth, healing, and authenticity popped up across her feed in the days after the docu-series dropped, but they didn't land. The engagement was noticeably lower, the comments were mixed, and it was clear that the narrative had already escaped her control. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about her next move. Some speculated that Meghan was preparing to launch an independent media venture, something unfiltered and authentic as her team allegedly described it. But what that actually meant was anyone's guess. No formal business plan was ever made public, and more importantly, no major investors had signed on. Industry insiders pointed out the obvious. While Meghan still had name recognition, she was no longer seen as a safe bet. One executive even said privately, "She's a wild card now. Nobody wants to bankroll chaos." And in an industry that thrives on predictability and polish, chaos is the last thing anyone wants to buy into. And still, Meghan refused to delete the video. Long after the story had been picked apart by tabloids, dissected on talk shows, and turned into comedy fodder on social media, the original post remained. It stood there on her feed like a monument to the moment everything changed. One Netflix insider said bluntly, if she had just taken it down, none of this would have escalated the way it did. But she didn't. Whether out of pride, principle, or stubbornness, she held her ground. And because of that, what could have been a minor PR bump spiraled into a full-blown reputational crisis. The backlash didn't just linger online, it started affecting her relationships in Hollywood. A few celebrity acquaintances reportedly reached out privately to urge her to take a step back and reassess. Lay low, regroup, don't fight the wave was the general advice. But Meghan wasn't interested in laying low. According to sources close to her, she saw herself as a woman being targeted simply for being herself. She felt cornered, misunderstood, and in her eyes, she was simply refusing to be silenced again. But this isn't 2020 anymore. The public mood had shifted, and the same media platforms that once rallied behind her during her royal exit weren't as sympathetic this time around. Things reached a tipping point when even her PR representation reportedly expressed concerns. One insider claimed her publicists were growing frustrated by the lack of coordination between her personal social activity and her professional obligations. That breakdown in strategy wasn't just frustrating, it was expensive. Contracts that once looked like long-term deals began to dry up, calls stopped coming in, brand opportunities vanished. Because in the world of celebrity partnerships, image is everything. And Meghan's was, for the first time in a long time, no longer under her full control. At Netflix, damage control continued. Internally, the company distanced itself from her, scrubbing marketing materials, delaying promotional tie-ins, and quietly minimizing any future mentions of her name in upcoming strategy meetings. One staffer allegedly joked, She's like Voldemort now. Nobody wants to say it out loud. Harsh, maybe, but it reflects just how far things had fallen. What had started as a high-profile, buzzworthy partnership with royalty had become a business liability. And even though there was no formal public split, the writing was on the wall. Netflix was backing away. Meanwhile, Meghan seemed increasingly isolated. Even her husband, Prince Harry, was noticeably absent from the narrative during the fallout. While he was reportedly working on his own projects, including an ongoing Netflix series related to sports and mental health, he was not involved in any of the cleanup related to With Love Meghan. Some observers noted the silence. Others speculated about behind-the-scenes tension. But again, without concrete statements from the couple, it was all just speculation. What's not speculation is this: Meghan Markle's standing in Hollywood has changed. Dramatically. The woman who once dominated headlines with every move, who built a brand off of defying expectations and telling her story, is now facing an uphill climb to regain the trust of both the industry and the public. The viral video wasn't just a moment, it became a metaphor for everything that's gone wrong in her media journey. From the royal split to the Spotify exit to this Netflix debacle, the pattern is starting to wear thin. People are beginning to question whether Meghan's narrative of being silenced and misunderstood still holds weight, or whether it's become a convenient shield for missteps that just keep piling up. And now, with no major platforms pushing her content, no visible brand partnerships on the horizon, and a shrinking fan base online, Meghan finds herself at a crossroads. She can continue to fight for authenticity on her own terms, risking further isolation. Or she can try to rebuild trust with the platforms and fans that once supported her, which would require a level of humility and compromise that hasn't always been her strong suit. Either way, the next move will be crucial, because in the world of celebrity, comebacks are rare and second chances are expensive. But let's be clear, Meghan Markle's story isn't over. Not by a long shot. She's still one of the most talked about figures in the world, with a loyal core following and undeniable influence. The question is no longer whether people are watching, it's what they're seeing when they do. The viral video, the backlash, and the silent response from Netflix have all reshaped her public image. And if she wants to stay relevant and respected, she'll have to decide what kind of public figure she truly wants to be. So, what do you think? Was the backlash to Meghan's video justified, or has the criticism gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from all sides. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest on your favorite celebrities. Thanks for watching. We've got more stories coming soon.